And your name is again?
Sarah.
Sarah. Hi.
Hi. You have such a gorgeous sound, and since you've been recording since you were started your career professionally, so what were your influences when you started to get such a beautiful sound from where you are now?
Well, I always had a good sound. I mean, you play with what you got, you know, and as soon as I started to play, I had a very good first teacher when I was 12 years old. I could get a good tone. Some people pick up a horn and it sounds like a fire in a pet shop, you know. I don't think it's anything I did. I mean, I worked on developing it, but I was gifted to have this, you know, everything seemed to work out,
Yeah.
and I'm a saxophone player. So that's just a gift from Mother Nature, I think. But I played a lot of long tones, which I urge all students to play. I played my scales. I did my keyboard exercises. When I was 15, I came to New York, or 16 actually, came to New York and studied with the great Lenny Tristano and took improv lessons. And the next year I moved to New York permanently. I was only 17 years old, and I went to Manhattan School of Music as a clarinet major for a summer session, and then I transferred to Juilliard, and I was there for 4 years. And then I went on the road, and I haven't unpacked since.
What would you give any advice to lead altos in big bands?
Play well.
Play well.
Yeah, well, you're the leader, you know. I mean, it's up to you to rehearse the sax section.
Yeah.
If you're gonna play something, play it the same way all the time. Don't change it. I mean, mark the breath marks, so that you all breathe together. If you're gonna do a scoop, make sure that everybody scoops. Make sure the underparts exaggerate the parts, because as lead alto, they're gonna hear you, but they might miss some of the the subtleties of the nuances. I think the underparts have to be exaggerated just a little bit.
Yeah.
As a section mate, as a leader, you got to tell them that. And know the song, know what you're dealing with, what kind of material you got. It should be okay. And have section rehearsals.
Okay.
You know, that's important. And memorize the music as quick as you can.
Memorize it? Okay.
Well, yeah, so you can play it. Music doesn't come alive until you get it off the paper. I mean, we have music out there, but it's new music for the most part. As the older I get, my memory is very good, but it's getting shorter. So I have the music, but I'm not really reading it. I keep it as a reference point. I know exactly what's happening. I know what the chords are. I know how they sound. I know what the melody is. I know exactly what the improvs are going to be. And it's not by rote, but I've studied the material. I don't play a song. I always start at the piano. I learn it at the piano. I learn the chords. I study the lyrics. I don't memorize them, but I try to get the intent of the lyricist, see what the song means. I study the harmony, the original harmony. Then I see if I can change anything without ruining it. You know, being true to the composer. And then I go to my horn. And sometimes I'll sit at the piano and play the chord, put the pedal on, and then improvise on the chord, and then play the next chord, improvise and try to everything is slow. You gotta crawl before you can run, you know. But piano is very important. I spend more time at the piano than I do at the sax lately. Well, I'm doing a lot of writing, but keyboard gives you the answers if you sit at the keyboard. Saxophone, you only got one note. At the piano, you got them all. So be able to play. Take a few piano lessons and get a little bit of. You don't have to be, you know, Oscar Peterson, but you know, just enough to play.
Okay.
Just keyboard harmony. Did you take any keyboard harmony? Have you taken keyboard harmony? Oh no. If you want to be a good lead alto player, you got to be a good musician.
Okay.
And you're not going to be a good musician if you don't know keyboard harmony.
Okay.
If you go to a music school, you're going to have to take an exam to see whether you're going to get music a piano keyboard 1 or keyboard 4. I went right into 4 because I could play the piano. I played a Bud Powell tune at Juilliard for my entrance exam, and I didn't have to go through all that nonsense. You know, the do re mi. I mean, I was into real keyboard harmony. You know, I knew more than some of the violin players who maybe knew more about Brahms, but they didn't know anything about chords. Yeah, but we have to know about, you gotta do your homework,
Okay.
and that'll make you a better lead player.